right, so tell us about this friend of yours that likes to test, quote unquote, women on dates.
So I always think it's tricky, right? When you say openly that you test the people that you date, because it just can kind of feel, I guess, awkward in a sense of like, why are you testing somebody so early that you're dating?
I don't feel like that's weird, because I was even noticing last week when I was out with somebody, I was kind of mentally testing them, not actually like putting in front of them like things they needed to do, but if they would do something in a weird way, I'm like, my future husband would never do that. You know, like it's just kind of in the back of your mind, you're like, that doesn't really feel like it's adding up for what's going to be good for me.
Isn't there the very famous one from some movie back in the day where she like makes him open her car door?
The
like
Bronx Tale.
The Bronx Tale. That's the test that she gives a guy every single time.
Right. Like, yeah, when she gets in the car, does she lean over to actually open the door for you after you let her in the car?
Right.
That's a great example of how you test on a date. So my guy has a test that he openly told me he does for every woman on the third date.
I'm the a-hole that when you open the door for me and you get in right before you start to open the door, I hit the lock button.
If you're driving, you can pull off a little bit, right?
I think that would be a great test, because I think that's a fun girl
That's
right
funny.
there. That's a second date.
Man, I used to do that to my husband, but then we
fun.
got to a point, he's like, it's not funny anymore.
I'll do that with a man with her car doors open and I'm driving and I just move 6 inches so she can't get in, then another 6 inches so she can't get in. Yeah.
Why are we with people? Why do they like us?
So what he does is, typically, he says the way his dates go when he's dating someone new. He's old-fashioned, like Bert and myself. He always pays for the first date. He doesn't believe it should go any other way. Second date, he does the same exact thing. No matter what it is, he pays it. That's his mindset. Now, the third date is where it gets tricky for him, and that's where he pulls out this test. So in his mind, if he pays for the first 2 dates as a man, he doesn't mind if he pays for the third date, but he gives the woman an opportunity to pay for the third date before he does it.
Okay.
So he purposely waits until when the check is coming on the table, and he goes to the bathroom.
All she's got to do is make the faux reach into the purse.
He's
Even
right.
if she doesn't really even mean it. All she's got to do is make the faux reach.
So that's what I always wait for, to see if she's going to reach. But I never thought, okay, just go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Just completely not even be at the table.
What do you mean?
When the check comes and they put it on the table, he's like, I'll be right. He goes and leaves the table and goes to the bathroom and sees if she's going to pay while he's in the bathroom.
Exactly.
This is a bad test.
How is she going to handle that?
I don't like feeling set up, because here's the thing. I'm always going to reach for my card and I'm always going to say, do you want to go halvesies on this? But if you go to the bathroom and then expect me to put my card down, to me, that feels like you're now trying to corner me into paying. And I would never do that to a guy. I would never go to the bathroom when the check came out with him. So I don't feel like that's quite fair.
Now, if she just puts her card on the table and she hasn't paid it, that to me is the same amount of credit right there.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. That's a pass for him.
Uh-huh.
So that's a win, right? So, but in his mind, the way he broke it down to me is, normally you go on a first and second date, we're getting to know each other. You don't even know if I'm worth your time. I don't know if I'm worth yours, but I'm willing to pay to see and figure it out.
Sure.
By the time I go on the third date, that means we grooving. We going somewhere. We actually. So now I want to see, when you got an opportunity to go out your way to do something for me, are you going to do it? Or are you just going to sit back and continue to let me handle it as I've always have the first 2 times? Because in his brain, if I pay for the first 2 dates and I happen to go to the bathroom and it's a lighter check, let's say it's a $30, $40 lunch, in his mind, her card should be on the table when he gets back, or it should be taken care of. But if she's just sitting there waiting for him to get back and pay for that third date, he will not go on a fourth date with that woman. Like, he has a stand-on business rule that if her card is not on that table when he gets out of that bathroom, no fourth date.
Abby, if that happened to you, if you've been on 50 dates, right, and 50 guys were doing the same test, how many times would you fail that one?
I'm going to the third date 50 times. This is a new record for me. So for me, I mean, this is basically what happened to me with London Boy. I explained, like, he was disappearing to the bathroom, and it started to happen so frequently that I started to feel like pushed into a corner. And I had no problem splitting the bill or the check in any kind of way. But it does feel like, because it's so manipulative, that's a red flag for me. It's not so much about the principle of if you want to know if I'm going to pay or not, because I'm always going to offer my card. It's the fact that I feel like you are pushing me into doing it.
Do you feel like it's still manipulative if he completely is willing to pay? Like, he's not going to get out of paying. Right. That's not his goal. He's willing to pay it, and he will pay for it. He won't even tell you that was a test. Like, he doesn't say anything.
Sure.
He just wants to see if you're going to take initiative in a situation where you get an opportunity to do it.
It feels manipulative to me.
Really?
The going to the bathroom feels manipulative to me. Like I'm gonna see what she's gonna do. And I had a therapist once that said that sometimes we will do these kinds of tests that are almost raising the bar so high that we almost want people to prove us right, so that we can feel more comfortable with I knew they were gonna do that anyway. And it's a way to kind of push people away and be avoidant. So when I see that, it almost feels like you want me to fail.
That's interesting.
I don't see
this
it that
very
way.
differently.
Yeah. I want you. Like, I would want to go out on a fourth date. I'd be in that bathroom hoping, coming to the bathroom, that you are coming back from the bathroom, that you have the card down, because I would want it to work. But I've been in too many of those relationships, and that's been too scarring. So that would be a real test.
Yeah, I think it's a good test for that third, fourth date to see if you gonna bring the same energy I'm bringing or not. And if not, I think it's nothing wrong with saying, okay, I think I'm gonna move on here.
The Bert Show.